Welcome to topic number 3 of our spiritual lifestyle series. Today we're talking about the spiritual detox cleanse for food, habits, addictions, what it means, how you do it, and all the benefits. Maya, checking in. How are you doing?
So, this morning I was in an awful mood, but it feels much better. I just say like we're looking at energetically wise because of the new moon. This moon has a wonderful eclipse, which is it just doubles everything. so, so I just say like aiming for like just checking in with the energies currently right now. I just say it's normal to feel like angry or it's normal to grieve. It's normal for us to be processing a lot of stuff. So mostly energetically wise, it's going to be mostly root chakra for everybody. Um, I just say it's just, very normal for you to feel sick a little bit. I just say like, you have stuffy nose. Mostly energy is, clearing out your system. I would just say for this new moon, this energy can make you feel really overworked, very exhausted, overheated. It's just like a lot of stuff is just rushing in your system. So if you're asking, what is this energy? What does the new moon, what area is it going to be around? It's going to be more like health goals, wellness, doctor's appointments, physical health, or exercise. And I just say like it's also really normal to feel exhausted, drained, sleeping. That's what that's what I did for the past 2 hours. Slept and I just kept sleeping. And like my children keep asking me stuff like I'm so tired, like literally right now. And then again, really important to center and ground at this time also. For me energetically with this moon, I just feel like I don't think I'm tired. I think I'm just kind of like, yeah, I know. Like kind of like it's like all these energies around you, and it's kind of like I would just say it kind of fits with our course today, which is kind of like habits and addictions. And this energy, this moon is more like, yeah, I just realizing that's it. Like have you ever done like I just realized that is a habit I have, and
Mhm.
yeah, I know we're working on it. We're somewhat progressing. But then now,
Yeah.
like, your habits, but the new moon is really showing you this is a real habit issue that you have to take care of. And it's like,
Mhm.
yeah, I know. Yeah. It's a denial Mark.
Yeah, totally. I know for me, I've been noticing some people at work talking about all the crazy dreams they're having, and I'm like, the consciousness clearing, right. Yeah, so that was one thing I was noticing. For me, it's been like a really focused effort on just breathing, grounding, and surrendering. All three of those things simultaneously, all at once, all the time, everywhere.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's and I feel a sadness in my lungs, in my heart, that grief you're talking about earlier. Like it's like part of me is mourning the changes for the earth, the changes in the land, and the intellectual part of me knows that it's a good thing and that the change is needed. But at the still time, I think there's a lot of grief around. Like what could have been, like all the angst in the land, all the pain and the suffering in the land, and it's just kind of releasing that. So intellectually, I know it's a good thing, but my body's still playing catch up. So yeah.
does, does does it feel like with the earth energies collect this right now is like all these energies are coming, and it feels like I know, but I refuse to acknowledge it. Okay, like
Yeah.
like you understand, all these energies are coming at you.
Yeah.
This energy, but you're in denial. I feel like you're in denial, or
Yeah.
you're trying
Yeah.
to ignore, or you're trying to close. Like, go back where you came from. No, it's your energy. Go back. It's like,
And it's like, oh, okay, yeah, all right, okay, fine, it's me, I get it, I surrender. And yeah, for me, it's been like a lot of stored trapped energies in my hips and my legs trying to work its way out. And so I've been doing a lot of yoga for the hips, a lot of pigeon poses, a lot of like roller balls, like on my muscles in my legs, a lot of like the 2 feet and like 2 feet stretched out, like pumping like the legs like this to release the trauma and the nervous system of my legs. Oh yeah, there's been a lot of little things that I'm like, okay, body, we can let this go. Yeah, so it's been no short of intense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
So just to phrase about the new moon. So since we talked about the downside of the new moon, so I just say for people who are wanting to know how to shift the new moon energy, I'm not gonna shift it because I still have some processing to do. But the new moon is really a good push for people who a good push if you're a person who are you have some type of illness. And it's a good push for you to find the right doctor. Or it's also the new moon is also a good push, finding the right doctor if you have like certain health issues, or special, like you want to do certain surgeries, or you want to enhance yourself, or find the right therapist, right doctor. This is kind of like also a really good push. It's also a good push for people who have, like if you're a person for a very long time and you have trouble, like I think I just told you, like meditation for habit. It's like if you're having a hard time meditating, this also is going to be a push also, where it's going to really tell you that you need to start meditating. It also is a good push for wellness, anything holistically. If you're kind of person who's been on the couch for a long time, it's going to really push and make you be aware, like about your health issues. It's going to really push you to exercise. So you all of a sudden you feel like you want to be outside, move. And you're outside and running, and you're like, I don't know why I'm jogging. It's probably the new moon is really pushing your body to really release that energy. So that's really, I just say it's really normal for the new moon to really feel that overwhelming energy. So.
mhm. Cool. All right, so let's jump into a recap of what our spiritual detoxification lifestyle really is. The spiritual detoxification is the physical body's response to processing and releasing trapped energy in the mental and emotional and the physical and the spiritual bodies. So it's not just, a liver detox. It's the energetic side of all these things happening and allowing the energy to move out of our bodies, just like mine I just talked about. During this process, our physical body goes into a state of detoxification to remove energetic and physical toxins. These toxins and impure energies are trapped in our chakras, subtle bodies, aura, and our energetic field systems. If you haven't been following us, so we've been doing for the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about the spiritual lifestyle. And we had just last week, we did the lifestyle series for the home detox and the environment. And 3 weeks ago, we did a spiritual detox cleanse. And this week, we take those two concepts of our two previous lives and we make it show, we're going to talk about how it all works together to addictions, habits, and the food we eat. So it's all kind of lining up.
Yes, yes. Yeah, so if you like, again, what Joe saying, the last couple weeks what we were talking about, I think we skipped 1 week. So again, if you really listen to it, this is to help you apply how you apply it all together, because they actually really sink in together. Again, spiritual lifestyle, which is, we were talking about, that's kind of like, clearing yourself. This is just, you yourself. Spiritual detox, the home, when we're talking about the home, is like, the house is really important to clear and detox the house, because that really also really shifts. So if you're kind of person and you're trying to change your lifestyle, or you're trying to change an old way, like this certain way doesn't really work for me, or nothing is going where I want, then this is what we're talking about. So this one is more like addictions, habits, and the food that we eat. So it's really important I think most people, when they do kind of like, they're doing a life, like they want to shift their lifestyle, but they do the home and, the personal stuff, but they forget to apply, like, how addictions and habits, that we have to cut cords and we have to clear the addictions and, in the habits that we have. So anyway, so the first question we're going to talk about is, how do we apply a spiritual detox and a home detox to food addictions and habits? So some of them are: detoxing the home helps clear the negative energy influencing you. If you try to anchor a health goal or wellness goal or home or spiritual detox cleanse, a home and detox cleanse will take some of that pressure off. So kind of clears all, the pathway. But that starts help, it assists you clearing, but doesn't fully clearing until you actually start like cutting, start working with, your addictions and habits and stuff like that. Sometimes the problem from addictions come from home, which is like, some type of entity or spiritual attachments in the home. It can also be energetic cords located in the home. And if there are some, then a home detox also helps clear that frequency out. If you're trying to maintain a health, food, or wellness goal, for example, you're like, I know what I want to do. I need to, this is my wellness goal, or I'm trying to lose some weight, or I'm trying to like start something that's really healthy for me, but I can't do it. Every time I do it, I'm just going in a stupid loop and circle. So sometimes you want to look at, the energies at home, old energies that are still, trapped into the home. So again, and cutting cords to the home brings in healthy thoughts and wellness. So it can prevent laziness, hoarding. That happened to me. Laziness, hoarding. If you're a terrible hoarder, like, I just tell you, seriously, you got to start cutting attachments, whatever is in the home. Cut cords in that home, because that's what's making you hoard at home, and also it even makes people clean their houses more. So if you're not like a super house cleaning, but then it'll make you enough, like, oh, this is really dirty. Yeah, we gotta do something. So.
Question 2. What is a spiritual food addiction? When we are addicted to certain foods, we basically, it affects us spiritually, it affects us physically. Overloading on certain foods into the diet, like way more dairy than you need, or way more sugar, or not eating enough vegetables, it doesn't serve our physical or our spiritual health. When we overload on some foods and then avoid others, we miss important minerals or nutrients in our physical body. And we need our physical body to hold and align with our spiritual body. Most food addictions are entity or spiritual attachments or ancestors lashed into our fields, and we may need to either cut cords or do past life clearings and healings.
That's true. Yeah. Have you ever had I'm just asking you, Jill, have you ever had a food healing which is related to past life before?
Yeah. Well, ancestors,
Oh yeah.
past life. Like for me, it's like potatoes. 2 weeks ago, I gave up potatoes cold turkey. I was like, that's it. I'm done. I cut the cords with potatoes. No more with this ancestral bullshit of like, oh, we're Scottish. We use the potato to survive in the famine. I'm done with that bullshit.
So that's kind of like he just, yeah, okay. So so I have this thing with corn, and I would hang it in my house, and I still have it. But then I realized, this corn has nothing to do with me in this lifetime. It's got to do with past life. When they used to like the fertility, and they use their corn as for fertility reasons. So
Yeah.
but yeah, some people do have, I'll just say, like, with, if you're having past life and you're having this problem with food addiction with past life, you do have to kind of look into past life, because sometimes like food is something that it's just a certain food that you ate in your past life, and in this lifetime it reminds you of that. And sometimes there's certain foods from your past life, and it's just like something. So we're not talking about food addiction, but certain foods that, so if you're a person, you don't like certain foods, and you know it's good for you. Like for example, I hate salad. Why? Because when I, for example, you hate salad, you know it's good for you, but the reason why you hate it is because in a past life, you know, you died in a garden filled with salad. So that's something that you can also look at, especially with, you know, your connection with food. But I think we're going to talk about that in another session about, you know, going deeper with food.
Yeah.
Question number 3: what is a habit spiritual attachment? So it's a spiritual or energetic attachment or entity latch onto your field, and it blocks and prevents you from your health goals. This spiritual attachment influences your habits. So if you have trouble like losing weight or going to the gym or even grounding, or constantly you're addicted to certain habits, then you have like, you know, a habit spiritual attachments. I at the beginning didn't do spiritual, you know, I didn't know if there was such thing as a habit spiritual attachments until I had this hard time. Okay, not to be disgusting, but I'm just telling you. I had a hard time maintaining my household. Like it was just always constantly like, you know, because I had children, it was constantly keeping up and cleaning up the house. But I didn't know that was, you know, spiritual attachments. It was because, you know, I was doing a lot of spiritual work, and all that force field of just wonderful spiritual attachments, entity attachment, was just really attaching to my house. And because I was so attached to my house, I couldn't, like, I didn't want to do it. It's because I didn't want to do it. Even if I wanted to do it, I didn't do it because, you know, there's just so much spiritual attachment. So again, that's why I said it's very important for you to really cleanse and detox your home away from spiritual attachments, because they could really latch you into certain habits in your home. So anyway, so some examples I'm just going to pose for, you know, with people with habits, spiritual attachments is can't quit smoking or you're trying to quit. It doesn't apply to smoking, it applies to drinking and et cetera, et cetera. Can't stop eating sugar when you know you have to. So this is people who, you know, if you have like diabetes and okay, example, doctors say no more sugar. What do? You go eat sugar. So this is where you start again working, looking to spiritual attachment, because probably spiritual attachment is most likely trying to like ear you in like eat sugar, eat sugar. So that's again. Other one is eating dairy when you know you're lactose because you're addicted to sugary icing. That would be me. Just setting an example. So it doesn't always apply. You know, this habit doesn't always apply like medical. It applies to us too. Like, you know, and it's the same thing, you know, like, you know, you're lactose, right? But you keep dreaming about that ice cream. You know, it's not good for you. So again, you have to cut, you know, spiritual attachments. What's attaching you to that? It might, because sometimes with food, you're not really spiritually attached to it. You probably just lacking vitamins. So if you're kind of, I'm just gonna tell for dairy people, you know, you're lactose and you're thinking about like sugary ice, you probably need vitamin D or some type of like dairy in your diet. So that's just a note up. Another one, too lazy to exercise when you know you should, because sometimes there's spiritual attachments into, again, your field. It's anyone who doesn't want to do anything and you're just like, I don't want to do anything, but you feel like, you know, I want to do something, but I have this hard time wanting to do it. Again, spiritual attachment. I think me and Jill discussed this one. Procrastinating to meditation. So, or a hard time meditating. And again, Jill says more of a crown attachment, blocking you. I'm more like it's probably root attachment, because like, you know, you don't want to. It's going to be both, you know, root and crown. So again, procrastinating to meditating, meaning that you meditate, but you don't fully put yourself into meditation. Like, oh, I'm just doing meditation, I want this to be done. No, kind of like that. Or kind of like, I have a hard time meditating, I can't meditate, this thing is not working. Again, you could look into spiritual attachments again. So that's another one. Another one, ancestral attachments, which could affect your beliefs and habits of eating certain foods. Other one is, you know, kind of like family habits that are not in alignment of truly who you are. So this attachment can be, you know, ancestor or energetic belief core tying you to do something that you don't really make sense when you think about it. So example would be what you learned from your parents and you ask yourself, why am I doing this? Do I really like doing this? Did you want to go more into it, Jill?
No, I was just thinking, like there's a million examples, and often we just think, why am I doing it this way? Like just making a bed, for example. Why am I doing it this way? Oh, because my mother taught me how to do that. Well, I don't like it this way. I don't like my bed sheets tucked in. I like my free feet all free and a simple example, right? Just like a little simple thing.
Yes.
And those are just
Yes.
like
Yes.
habits you can break just because you're like, just ask yourself, why are we doing these? Why are we doing these?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay, question 4. What are the benefits of a spiritual cleanse for your addictions, habits, and foods? Well, no more poisons to your health, whether it be physical health, emotional health, mental health, spiritual health. It's all of it. You can make better decisions. You can have mindfulness and clarity of thought. You can feel empowered. You learn to work with and around your health issues. So you feel like you're managing your health proactively. You've got more energy, you're not feeling drained, you're happier, more aligned, you can move forward to reach your goals. Less fighting, anger, and grumpiness in the home or in work. Feeling more love and softer energies around you. As it pertains to food, maybe your stomach or your intestines don't feel as heavy or weighted because you've learned to, move some of those old food habits or your food addictions out of the way, and everything feels lighter. When we do a spiritual detox cleanse, we make healthier decisions for food, habits, and addictions. Sometimes we are influenced by food attachments. These food attachments are bad for our bodies, which affects all of our bodies, physical, spiritual, emotional, all of it. And sometimes these food attachments are already being warned from our doctors. So, for example, your cholesterol is too high because you consume too much fat or whatever. These are food attachments. Other food attachments and addictions could be like sugar, alcohol, smoking, etc. Yeah, I know. The first time going back to the food addictions and food habits, and you're talking about the stomach feeling heavy and weighted. The first time I did a cleanse, like a physical cleanse, like I did a stomach and intestine, liver and spleen cleanse with some herbs. And I was on it. It was the hardest thing I ever did. Oh my gosh, I was in my like 20s, I was 27 years old, and I was just looking for ways to feel better with my gluten intolerance. And I found this cleanse thing, and I'm like, I'm doing it.
Oh yeah.
I was like, oh my God, after like 3 weeks of it, I was so amazed. I was so light, so happy, so clear, so I was dancing through the tulips every day. I was like, and then as I started to reintroduce some of these foods back in, I was like, oh, my stomach doesn't feel good anymore. Huh. Tip number 1. Anyway, just little things like that. And then that translates spiritually, because if our physical vessel is clear, and then the energy starts to flow, and then you're happier, your vibe increases, etc., etc., etc. So it's all related to the spiritual lifestyle.
Yeah, I just say like if you're doing like like kind of like addiction cleanse, or even like a cleanse in your body, kind of like for example is like liver or kidney. You could do a liver and kidney cleanse, and I just say like people who are trying to do more like more of a spiritual cleanse. I just say first cut cords, whatever you're attaching to, then do yourself a self healing, energy healing into that part, and then start going into like detoxing, which is you want to do like an energetic detox, which is like I'm cutting cords with this, or I need an energetic detox energy with my spiritual guides, help me cleanse this, so help me heal this. Because when we're doing energy work with detoxing, then that kind of like it helps us on an energetic level. So then it's telling you this is your problem. Like if you're when you start doing that with the when you're doing energy work to help you detox, that helps you twice, because like you could physically say, we can mentally say we're gonna do it and then we don't do it. So sometimes we need a little help with our spiritual guides. Like I need a little push. I do that because I know like I can't mentally do it. So I'll go to my guys like what kind of energy can you give me? And they'll help you with the energy, just like really help you pushing that energy. Because when they push that energy out, then you're like, oh no, they'll give you a whole list like, I need to do this and this and this. This is why, this is what the problem is. And, for example, it's like, this is the problem with your kidneys. Like, for example, I'll tell you a story about my kidneys. So why is my skin so dry? One's like, it's your kidneys. You're not drinking enough water. So what do? You get, for me, it's like I work with my guides and they're like, okay, we're clearing this, first again, it'd be cutting cords. So we got to cut cords with what is, making you like that, and then doing energy healing to your kidneys, and then they'll give you like a detox, which is like it really shows you like the truth about you, like this is the habits that you have, this is what you need to do. So this it helps you with the habits. Again, like anything with our body, it's also about lifestyle, like what kind of lifestyle are you at. And sometimes with their detox, again, with their detox energy that your guides give you, it also makes you see your your environment around you, like what is it that you're like. For example, like again, back to the kidney. So this is your problem, Maya. You don't want to drink water. You should drink water, but you are making excuses to not drink water. So you're seeing that your skin is dry, and and you're seeing your problem now. Yes. So that's just like an example. With like, I'll just give you an example. I think Jill has another one I would really, since we're on the topic, is I was going to talk about people who are vegan, vegetarian, or you're kind of like having that push, like you want to be vegetarian or vegan, but it's so hard. Again, energy work, working with your guides again, and asking, again, working with your guides and just say, what, guys, I really want to be, I need help with vegan, vegetarian. I need a push, and they'll give you that, that detox energy. Because usually for us, we mentally say, hey, I'm going to, like, for me, like, being vegetarian, I didn't get to be like that. Like I didn't get to be that. I needed to push. like, so you have to work with your guides and say, they'll tell you what you need to cut cords with. This is what you're attached to. This energy is what you're attached to. This, you have a spiritual attachment here. This, again, and you'll have that detox energy, and that again will help you clear. Sometimes with food, since we're on the topic of food, okay, so if you're all of a sudden I've noticed this even as a spiritual person and vegetarian. I eat mostly vegan food, but I call myself vegetarian because I still eat eggs. So sometimes like if you're kind of like vegetarian or vegan, all of a sudden you have these thoughts and meats. Okay, that is the first sign. I will tell you, spiritual attachment. just first sign. Spiritual attachment, latching back into your field. So I just wanted to put that out there for other people. Like, what, I start having these thoughts about me. It's like, it's probably entity attachment. So
good to know. Yeah.
Yes.
For me, it was. Do we have time for a quick little story?
Oh, go ahead.
So when I started, I didn't like. For me, my veganism just kind of phased in. So and it was all but my body, my physical health was driving my food choices. So first thing to go was gluten. That was like the first one to drop off. And then I started to feel like really bad and I didn't know why. And so I went to get some tests and I was like, my body started rejecting eggs. Then eggs went. And then a year or two later, I started to feel really bad. And I was like, oh, it's the dairy. Yeah. So then the dairy went. And then the last thing to go, it just started to go on its own. I had less and less desire to eat meat. And like, it just kind of dropped off on its own. And sometimes I smell a barbecue every now and again. And I'm like, oh, that smells good. Wait, now, hold on. That's charred flesh. Wait, now, hold on. That's charred flesh. Entity out. Anyway, so that's my story, and like the whole, I can do cold turkey as well. It's challenging, like with potatoes, but for me, it was like my body was like screaming at me, like, look at me, look at me, look at me, pay attention to me, pay attention to me. So yeah, that's my story.
Yes, yes, yes. Anyway, so we're gonna go to question number 5. How do we do an energetic and spiritual detox cleanse, kind of like for addictions or habits? So how do we detox? So first, we're just gonna kind of go into a routine. First, we begin by doing a house detox cleanse and a spiritual lifestyle cleanse, which is like the first two, the first two lives that we did. And then we go more into the food detox. And this is because I think I explained, which is like, the first two, which is, like, you do the lifestyle more, which is kind of like a personal, which is kind of like you cleansing yourself. So then you want to remove all that negativity energy that just around you. Then you want to do the house. So then you remove the attachment of the house energy. And then because we want to separate those energy, so you want to do like energetic cords. So if you're asking how long this could take a month, okay, to progress where you're doing. And then we go again into the house. The second, we cut cords with certain foods that's attaching us to certain food addictions and stuff like that. Just like other cutting cords and unwanted energy. So we could cut cords with foods if if this food is bad for you. Like for example, like one is salt. Like salt is really not eating too much salt. It's not really healthy for you. So yeah, you have an over excessively eating salt and you can't control your mouth desires because we can't control mouth. It tastes good. It tastes good. We can eat it. Again, so then we want to cut. You could cut cords with salts and stuff like that. So then you're not. So cutting cords with food doesn't mean it just means that you're not attracting to those energies of foods, anyways. Third, we cut cords with our habits and lifestyles. So again, those are more like spiritual cords, anything that's attached to your habits and lifestyles. We already gave like a few examples about it. So if you forget some of those examples, you can watch the live again. So I'm going to show an example of a routine, really simple one, which is this is a full routine, which we talk about the last two lives and including this one. So a routine would be like clearing energy out, which is like clearing energy around you, like removing all the negative energy around you, clearing energy around your heart center, really grounding yourself, centering yourself. So that's just you personally, just you getting yourself there. And that just helps bring clarity into your thought space, helping you get into that state. And then the second one be like, house, right? So instancing the house, cutting energetic cords, attachments to the house, blessing your house, like spraying your house with like, essential oils, lavender and sage. Lavender and sage is a really good combo to keep the house, cleansed and relaxed anyways. And then you want to restore the energies in the house, which is like, if you're kind of into like how you want certain part of energy in your house, how you move the energy around the house, it's kind of based what your attention is. Like, hey, I want to bring more prosperity into the house, or I'm just kind of like, I just want to remove all this ugly energy. So again, restoring the energy in the house. And then we go into cutting energetic. Then we go into kind of like the food. Okay. Then we can go into the food and look in your cabinets and see like, okay, which foods. Have you ever opened your cabinets and just look into your cabinet like, oh shit, I don't got good stuff. like like you look at yourself after you clear all this house, you're gonna look at yourself like, oh my gosh. I did that and I was like, what the problem is with me? I don't have enough salads in the house. I was like, I don't have enough veggies. What is so recently I did it and I was like, but it was in the salads. Like, the problem is I don't have enough fruits. I was like, oh my gosh. Like I literally looking like I don't have enough vitamin C. Like, where are the oranges? What is wrong with me? so again, so sometimes you'll realize that after you do the house clearing. So again, you just look in the cabinet and start realizing what is it that you don't need in your, what it needs to go out of your cabinet. Like sometimes you'll have like, what, if you have something in your cabinet and it's telling you throw it away, you got to throw it away because it's probably not good for you. or like food hoarders. Okay, this is good for food hoarders. If you're kind of like a person who likes to shop and just like, I like this and this because this looks really good to my stomach, this and this and this again. So anyways, and then one second. And then we cut cords for, again, cutting cords for any laziness or something to help you to be more active. So, again, if you're a person, and I just say cutting cords for laziness, I wouldn't say if you're fully lazy, but a person you're like, you know what, I don't want to do anything, but you know that you need to be active or you need to do something. And then I just say you need to cut cords with whatever energy that's latching to you. Most of the time, it's going to be like house energy. If you clear house energy, then it's not house energy anymore. It's actually just you. Or so then you might have to go into some healing, like what is really not wanting to making you to be more active. So this is mostly, I would just say, cutting cords for laziness, or if you want to be more active, it's mostly for people who have like a layout, which is like, hey, I want to be more active, or I want to be more active. I want to be more into, I want to do more yoga, but my body doesn't allow me to do yoga. So what do I have to do? So you might have to cut some cords to attachments. Sometimes you might have to cut some cords to food attachments, which, is not really good for you. So again, and then this is just like a simple routine, which is so then when we cut the attachment, then you might have some healing work to do, which is inner healing work, which is relation to attachments. For example, I'm cutting cords with my root chakra because my root chakra, is really blocked and it's making me feel lazy and I don't want to do anything. So I want to be more proactive. I want to be more active into yoga. So what do? You cut cords and we're restoring this, like restoring myself and healing myself. So that's an example. And then you also want to cut cords with energy, like I said. You want also, with this routine, you also want to cut cords with energy that's blocking your solar plexus. So solar plexus is all about power. So anytime, like, again, if you're a person like who's really lazy or you just like don't want to do anything, don't feel like you want to do anything, you also want to look into solar plexus, which is like anything with wellness and power. And then you want to start doing restore soul work. So that's just like a simple routine that, with lifestyle. So again, food and habits are no different. We cleanse the house, we cleanse our personal energies, and we cleanse our food and habits, and we also cut cords the same way. So
Yeah. Question 6. What are ways I can heal myself from food and habits addictions? Of course, journaling, meditating on your connection with what you feel. It's all about what you feel related to the food, habit, or the addiction. How does this food, habit, or addiction make me feel? What do I feel when I do it? Where is that hitting me? Is it heart? Is it my legs, or whatever it is? And then we heal that emotion or heal that feeling, or we find an alternative depending on what you discover. So a good example is the old famous macaroni and cheese. Everyone calls it the comfort food. But what really is it about that mac and cheese, that the feeling of comfort? So a feeling of comfort, the feeling of grounded, the feeling of being full. So you might want to reflect, is this like am I ungrounded? Can I get grounded in other ways? What other ways can I bring myself comfort instead of like cheese? What is there something to do with food scarcity or food starvation in past life that I have? So these are all things that you can do, like journal or meditate to learn about what's behind the feeling of these habits and addictions. You can also shift your belief, because I know there's a lot of emphasis, there's just a lot of societal emphasis on gourmet dining and having the food create like certain tastes in your mouth, and we get addicted to that beautiful, we call it the party in the mouth kind of feeling when we eat food. And we shift that belief from this sensation to this food I'm sustaining enhances my spirit body temple. So you look for foods then that are more in line with your kind of spiritual bodies and your kind of spiritual goals, and you kind of cut that cord with, oh, it's got to melt in my mouth or it has to make me feel a certain way. In regards to habits, you can definitely do, like, after you've done that self reflection about what it is you like to shift and why, you can just kind of create a daily little chart for yourself. Very simple chart, like a progress report about all any of your emotion, your feelings that you're feeling, your emotional and your mental, like your reflections, like your thoughts. So day one, I feel like blank. Day two, I notice that this is happening. Day three, my body reacts to XYZ. And you kind of keep this kind of log, this journal, to understand kind of what needs healing, what needs to clear out, maybe what you need to be a little more like soft hearted to yourself on, like cut yourself a break. This is a big deal. Or, wow, I didn't realize that this was so deep. Like maybe you'll have some self past life reflections. In regards to food, you can always do elimination diet. You can do an elimination diet for 21 days to clear yourself of any major pathogens like dairy, sugar, gluten, yeast, the main ones. And then you create this baseline, this clear, clean baseline. So, like, you've got you back to this neutral state. And then you add your foods back, like once one food every few days. And you, during that time, you observe your emotional, mental, and physical response to it. So that's one way. You may be asking why 21 days. This is just for your liver. It just gives your liver a time to reset. And if you feel better without the food after the 21 days, then you might consider removing it completely. Because if you reintroduce the food in your test and you feel bad, then you know it's not good for you. You don't even have to be spiritual to kind of to see that evidence, and then your body will just be thanking you after. Another source, another great example for this, any kind of food elimination diet, is the medical medium. And he's kind of a writer, public figure, if you will. He's got Instagram, Facebook groups. I've done a few of his cleanses, and they're amazing. So, yeah, so he's has some very detailed information on kind of beyond the medical profession of what certain foods are and do for us. But the same model for these kind of elimination kind of, you look at the elimination diet for the food, you can also apply those same concepts to addictions. For example, a very mild example would be like a TV addiction. To try to go without it for a while and see what you notice. So you may want to plan things out, other things to do in its place. And you, during that time, you might think, oh, I was using TV to, you get a lot of more like self reflections when you don't have the TV around. So, for example, like if you know you use TV to declutter your brain or to relax or have a few laughs, then try to do those other activities that bring those similar kind of outcomes, like the laughter, the unwinding, that kind of thing. And so you fill it with something maybe less addictive. But anyway, everyone does their own thing. And obviously, for other addictions, you might want to seek professional help, just because they can be quite invasive and have a huge grip on you, and you might need to seek that professional help.
Great. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, like with most addictions or any addictions, yeah. I would just say like energy work helps a lot with some of the addictions, which is clearing out spiritual attachments or anything like that. And sometimes some of the addictions are coming from past lives also, or past like childhood. Anyways, so we're going to move to question number 7. So what are the benefits of cutting cords and attachments to food or any habit addictions? Some benefits are personal freedom. You feel they don't have a hold on you, so you feel free. You open the space for personal power, so your solar plexus kind of makes that space. So this is really good for people who are doing more of a gut clearing or a gut healing. Again, we'll talk about that in another session. You create space to create new things. Other benefits are You're no longer attached to belief systems, able to move forward and also process things energetically. Other benefits is healthy gut and health and a healthy mind. You're no longer dependent on sugars, salt, cigarettes, alcohol, or any of those other habits. So you're just not dependent on them. You also close the doorway for attachments to feed onto you or latch onto you or give you, like keep doing this. This is good for you. You close that doorway. You also have more of a clear mind and thought, like you're more mindful and you have more clarity of like you have this awareness of what's going on around you. Like, oh, when you hear something like you should eat dairy, for example, I'm just for my example, you should eat dairy, Maya. Why? Eh, oh yeah, sure. Nope. Goodbye. Like you have a sense of awareness because then when you hear it come calling for you, then you just know, like, what, we just need to plug this out now. You know what to say no. You also develop a relationship within yourself, a stronger relationship with trusting within yourself. So you develop this closeness, like you trust yourself completely. Even though when you hear the calling, you should eat this, you should do this type of habits, and you're like, no, I don't need that. I trust myself. I don't need that. You also develop a better self-esteem and confidence within yourself. So it kind of like heightens up that like I'm really confident about myself. I have this self-esteem about myself. You also develop a stronger relationship with independency and not latching on being dependent on things. So you have this, heighten your, relationship being more independent. So you're not holding, I'm no longer dependent on being like that. I don't have to be like that. I don't, so those are some benefits of cutting cords and attachments with food and habit addictions.
Question 8. What chakra is related to food addictions and what blocks does it create within the body, the energetic body? Throat chakra. Throat chakra is related to addictions, which blocks the solar plexus, which impacts your root. Your solar plexus is connected to personal power, free will, and root chakra is safety. So if you are addicted to food, you put it right here. This is the addiction right here. It's the throat chakra, all this. And then your solar plexus or your stomach is adjusting all the addictions, the energy of addiction, the satisfying feeling you get from that palate that you get from it. And then it goes into, creates your problems with the root chakra or your anus. So it's all related.
I know. It's not like a genius. I thought, yeah, that was like, I was like, since we're talking about addictions, what should I talk about? I'm like, you know what? This is something that people need to know about addiction. So like, for example, is like if you're a person who love eating sugar or you love cakes and you love cakes, you love candy, all that sweet stuff, right? It's satisfying to our our taste buds. Like, oh, it tastes so good. You just keep eating it. And you just keep eating it, and your solar plexus it still tastes so good, but it fills up all, and it's so acidic sometimes in your stomach, especially eating those like acidic candy. And you're like, oh, my stomach, or even like too much spicy food tastes so good, but then your stomach has it has too much, and it's overly too much for the solar plexus, and it's not really as grounding for your root than you think. But when I thought about it, I'm like, wow, it goes into the throat and exits out the anus. I'm like, wow. I was
like, yeah, it's just so simple when you think of it. Yeah, but it's that party in the mouth feeling, that satiated feeling of, oh, this tastes so good. And that's right there. That's the addiction right there.
Yeah. 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 So I feel like, yeah. And I would just say like, being like, we're talking about chakras, it's really similar to, cause like, the root is always connected to the solar plexus, and the solar plexus is always connected to the throat. So those energies are really, really intertwined. So if you're again with, chakras, if you watch our chakra system about our chakras, then, if the root is ungrounded, then it affects the other chakras. So, anyways, so Jill, do you have any stories for us? Little short stories at all?
Oh, a ton. I've had quite a journey with food. I gave you the highlights before about my, how I got to be vegan. But it's always constantly refining. Like it's interesting. There's never a dull moment with me and food. Recently, last 2 weeks, I just went cold turkey on potatoes. Done. And now I'm like trying to shift my perspective of, like I mentioned in the examples about like shifting my belief systems around food, that it's a support, a key and critical support for my spiritual vessel. And so looking at it from a different lens, of a different point of view. And one thing that I have to look at is cheese. Every now and again, I eat cheese, and it's just a weird little sprinkling because I'm out in a restaurant, and it came with cheese on it, and I always regret that, so I have to look at, why do I not ask about cheese? Why do I not send it back if I can't eat it? Why do I just eat it and then regret it? So there's something there. I need to cut the cord. I need to look at that, like, kind of energetically, and it may be something to do with like that whole speaking up. Like, I'm afraid to speak up, I'm afraid to speak my truth, I'm afraid to speak up for myself. There could be a little bit of unworthiness there, so I still have to look at that. And so anyway, it's a never ending journey.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I would just like for me, like with spiritual food habits and addictions, even with lifestyle. So for me, I would tell you how, for me, I'm just gonna explain more for me. So like if I notice I make poor food choices, I'm probably ungrounded. That's like the first sign. So
Mm.
like so if you're a person and you're just like, it's been 3 days, let's put example, okay? Let's just put example. I'm pretty sure there's people like this. Okay. You are consistent, like you know what you want to eat. Like it's so for me, I eat a lot of poke bowls. So I make a lot of rice and then I eat a lot of veggies with them and or like I'll eat like soup, it's just like what you eat every day. And then 3 days go by and you're like, you know what, I don't want to do this. I don't want to eat this. Can we just get a veggie burger? Like all of a sudden you don't want that. Can we just go order a veggie burger? It's like all of a sudden I don't want to do like the work. So that's when I know like, or like you don't want to eat veggies and you just like, I just want to eat like fruits. Yeah, I just feel like fruits and sweets or bakery stuff, and that just tells me like you're just ungrounded. So that's how like that's how a lifestyle that you are ungrounded and you start getting lazy. So if you start kind of seeing that pattern, like that's my first pattern. If you see your pattern, then you know that everything, that you're ungrounded. Like so for example, it will start with the food. And then I get to the point where I don't want to clean the house. And then it gets to the point where I don't want to leave my room. And then so then you don't want to do like you don't want to do the like the family's laundry. That's when I know like, you know what? There is something going on right here. There is some type of attachment. That's how you know that you have an attachment around you, because when it starts with something little, and you should notice that at the beginning, like what's going on here. So if you, for me, it's like the food. I'm like, okay, I guess just not my day. But then when it goes
Mhm.
deeper into like, I don't want to do anything, I don't want to clean the house, or I'm sick and tired of this, or you're just super ungrounded. And it comes to the
Mhm.
point where if you're a person, you come to the point where you don't want to leave the house, most likely that's when you need to start doing like the cleansing and you start need to detox. So
Mhm. Thank you for that, Maya. I know I was using food a lot to ground. I was doing like, and I was like probably I was going overboard. Like it was like I was start, I was gaining weight, and I was just like, okay, all right, Jill, get your shit together.
I was
Let
gonna I was gonna say like I was gonna say if you're using food to ground, girl, you dependent on food. I was gonna say that there's some
yeah,
dependency between the food.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Um.
exactly.
All right. So today we're gonna be doing an activation, and this is an addiction clearing activation. Okay. So we center ourselves today. So today I'm gonna do so put a bubble around your throat today. Bubble around yourself, creating this safe bubble around yourself, creating the safe bubble around the throat, especially with the throat and around the head. Creating the safe bubble into your solar plexus. Around, so create your own little bubble into your solar plexus and a little bubble into the root chakra today. And we're going to do addiction, clearing addictions, barakotira, darakating, dissolving addictions, clearing, marokotira pas, medikarea, parishtika pas, nikara, medikiti, letting go of old addictions, old attachments to addictions, marakotara parikina, darikoti. So today we're going to work on throat, addictions with the throat chakra, Marukosamaraka Sutuparishniki, letting go addictions of the throat chakra, addictions to food with the throat chakra. Marukotarika Simarakota Rakotia, moving addictions. Marukotia Duorikiti, Morikati Shimikarakora, moving addictions, removing addictions to the mouth. Marukotia Rikotia Shinika Borikatia Orikia Oshiniki, dissolving food addictions. Marukotia Marikitia. Morukatia, removing food addictions to the mouth. Marakoria, clearing, removing, unhook. We unhook our spiritual attachments or entities latching onto our addictions. Marakotira to Korea. Dirikatia maraka, dissolving spiritual attachments and entities latching into our fields to our addictions. Marukos marakoshinakara, letting go, unhook. We unhook all spiritual attachments into our guts, moving all spiritual attachments to our gut and entity attachments to our gut system. Marukotia rukoshinika lapa, letting go, let it go, letting go, and kaporikati, letting go of those addictions into their solar plexus. Marukoshinika, morikatia, marikia, shalakanyara. Marking, letting going those addictions to power in our solar plexus. Mirikuyara, Marikoyana, we clear, and we surrender, and we clear. Marokosamarakanyanate, we clear and we let go. And we clear it into the root chakra, into the ground, the earth. Marakosiara pori, Mirikosamara, Shanati, we clear. Marokotia, oti, and opening the root for the tree chakra into the root system and into the heart, to solar plexus, into the heart, and into the crown. And then we close all gateways and portals. All right, we are done.
Wow. Thank you, Maya. Wow. Amazing. Oh, awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, beautiful. That's awesome.
yes, yes. Yeah, I would just say, like, with addictions, like, again, most addictions is going to come through the throat chakra. And if you really think about it, smoking, of course, comes
Mhm.
from the throat. If you love a lot of, if you're a person who loves drinking like crazy, comes from the throat. Again, food addictions, again, from the throat. And I just think that the mouth has a lot. I just say our taste buds have so much pleasure. I just say so much pleasure in different flavors. And, sometimes I think we overdo our mouths. Like it's because, like, there's just so much, our taste buds love to have all these, there's different types of tastes. Just like, this food tastes like this, like, oh, okay, this is a different sensation in my body. Yeah.
Mhm.
This tastes really good. So I say, like, most of it, like, again, we just overdo probably our mouth and throat chakra. um but once we find a balance in our mouth, like, once we find that balance with our mouth, then we don't, and you don't have addictions. When you eat food, it's almost like I would just say, like, I was gonna say ovulating. I was gonna say that, but it's like when you have a sense of comfort, like when you eat food, and it just feels like really relaxing and very calming, in a calming state. And I just say, like, soul food. I think that's what the course we're gonna probably talk about in a retreat, like soul food.
Yeah.
Um, anyways, so um, we'll talk about retreat. So, Jill,
Yeah.
why don't you talk about a retreat that's coming up?
I know. It's pretty exciting. We started to advertise, as everyone knows. We have a website now with the sign up. We are now starting to kind of go into of all every day, kind of what it's pretty amazing. Like spiritual food, wow, like how are we going to introduce people to like different types of foods? What is the spiritual meaning of foods? How you connect with food at a spiritual level. um, Speaking of food.
Yeah,
Yeah, and Vedette Lake is the perfect place for this kind of intensive, I'm going to call it, where it's like, I want to say you can't run, you can't hide from yourself, like it's like you're there, and you're going to be like surrounded by love and support and held by the land and allow yourself to sink into you, like super safe space to be grounded and centered. I'm super excited.
yeah, it's a really good place, to also connect. We'll be also doing, again, yoga.
Mhm.
We'll be doing some hikes. I would just say we'll be doing like a food course. So if you're kind of like a person and you want to know how to connect with food, there'll be other things like activities that kind of goes along with it. So feel free to follow us.
Yeah.
So
Save your
yeah,
spot by going to the website and registering and making your deposit. So, and we've already got spots are filling up. So please, if you have any kind of interest or if you have any kind of question at all about or any kind of uncertainty, feel free to reach out to any one of the four of us and let us know what your questions or concerns are. We'd be happy to walk you through them.
yes, yes. So next week we're going to be talking about something different. So it won't be about detox, but it'll be how to use yoga to help declutter and clearing out the mentality. So anything with yoga. So we're talking about probably yoga and breath work to help with all that, mentality and help decluttering some of that stuff.
Perfect.
So see us next week. So have a good night.
See you. Bye bye.